Well, hello. How are you doing today? Merry Christmas, Nick, Robbie, Mick. How's everybody? Hope you've had a great Christmas morning as we go into Christmas afternoon for some of us. Those of you possibly in the, let's say, the other world, Europe and beyond, you're well beyond midday. Hope you had a great Christmas day. Hello, Ivan, Fabio, Andy. Great to see you all. Jerry. Yeah, I just want to get on for a few minutes, say hello, catch up with everybody. I'll put a link up. Anybody wants to come in as well, you're welcome. This is just to say hello and to wish everybody well. Maybe see if anybody got any really nice gifts from Santa that are vinyl related. 19 o'clock. Yeah, same with my daughter who is in Germany. So actually Austria, but the same time zone as Germany. Yeah, we talked to her on WhatsApp this morning. So that was good. Yeah, I'm used to that time zone. When I spend time in Sweden, it's the same time zone. So I know where you're coming from there. I did put a link up there. If anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome to say hello. Again, working on my 2023 list. I guess everybody's got one. Mine is not going to be, mine's going to have a broader plethora of categories rather than just a top 10 of this or a top 10 of that. It's going to be a little more specific to certain aspects of music and aspects of the channel. And looking forward, of course, to 2024. I think won't be, a week until we're doing that. So that's great. I hope Santa was good to everybody. I tend to be my own Santa Claus because I kind of know what I'm looking for. Still working on your top 10 of 25. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Ivan, you're talking about actual releases when it comes to that. But new music, a mix of old and new music, kind of interesting. People take different approaches on this, and that's great. I like to zoom in a bit, maybe have some honorable mentions. That's kind of the approach that I take. Frankly, I spend so much time when I'm doing shootouts. I'm in the middle of doing two of the Analog Productions Atlantic's Bad Company. I'm ready to release here tomorrow, I believe. And then Lamb Lies Down on Broadway after that. I've got a pressing plant tour that I took about a week and a half ago that I've started to edit up and get ready for release. So new music. Great, Ivan. That's good. Those are nice to be able to get a perspective on different bands that we might not know about. And that's good. I get some of that, but I don't get near as much as many of you others. And that's fine. That's great that we have a bigger palette of opportunities and inputs to get on those kind of things. And that's what makes the vinyl community good, is that we have different perspectives. I like that a lot. After Christmas sale, 20% off. Oh, there you go. Well, you know it, others know it. Get there early. I guess that's all I can say for what, of course, isn't picked over, but that's a good strategy. I'm sure I'll be getting a bunch of texts today from local stores doing the same. So yeah, spend maybe a few of those dollars that you get for Christmas. Man, I remember when I was a kid and I'd get cash from aunts, uncles, grandparents. Man, first place I'd hit is a record store or a place that sold records, Sears, Roebuck, or Montgomery Ward, or Kresge's, or whoever the store might have been. We had a local record store a half a block from my house called Glen Park Music, because I lived in an area, Gary, Indiana, called Glen Park, and definitely released some coin to them. As I did another place, I was talking online through a comment about jukeboxes, because this store near my home was a dime, what we call a dime store, like Kresge's was a dime store. Today would be Dollar General, I guess, with inflation, right? But it was a dime store, and they would bring in records from old jukeboxes. They would take them out of jukeboxes and put them in this bin, and they would sell them for, I think, 49 cents at the time, which is about half of what they were new. And some were worn, but a lot of them were not worn very much at all. A lot of them obviously didn't get played. But you grew up in Munster, Andy. Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Great hamburger place in Munster. As a matter of fact, I had a good family friend. This guy's name was Frank DeRosa, and he was like he played accordion at a lot of different functions, and he was pretty well known in the area. So you probably know Shoop's Hamburgers if you were there. Yep, there you go, Andy Shoop's, exactly. I remember the original one was there on Ridge Road, and now they've expanded. I ate at one earlier this year out in Sherrville, right next door to Teebles, actually, there. So you got a Muncie person. Okay, Jerry, there you go. Wow. The Hoosiers have come to stay. There they are. As I always said, the unwanted children in Indiana would say, "Who's your daddy?" So that's great to see a few other Hoosiers here. I grew up there, and yeah, things have changed as they have everywhere. But I do have some great memories of record collecting as a young kid, and Christmases there. Seemed like we had a lot more snow back then, but it was a lot of lake effect snow that we'd get there off of Lake Michigan. So, but it's been a good year. A lot of solid gets of vinyl. A lot of great people that I've met, both online and in person, and some really good travel, whether it was international or local. And I see my dog's going crazy. It must be my wife coming home. So, yeah, good memories, but things always have changed. But yeah, it's been a good year. There's always ups and downs every year. My wife's mom is very ill right now, and she's 89. So that's been a tough journey, of course. But unfortunately, death is part of life. That's for sure. So many records. Oh yeah, let me just put that up there. I like that. Oh boy, that makes it tough. That makes it tough, Fabio. Picking and choosing. Well, the one thing I would say to you is try to look at what you think might not be as readily available, in months for whatever reason, whether it's a used record that you really want and found a good copy of, grab it while you can. If it's one that's been out as in short supply or limited edition, do that. A lot of the others will probably still be there, right? You were able to find a copy of the Nautilus Doobies. Sounds great. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Music Sanctuary, you are welcome. Yeah, it's well done. So is the Speaker's Corners, well done. You can't go wrong with either of those. That's the thing. I mean, if there's really a bad pressing or one that I would say don't get, I'll say it, of course, but there's a lot of them that are relatively close. But at the same time, I don't want to, I'm not going to assume just because, let's say, Kevin Gray came out with a new cut of that on Rhino Hi-Fi, that it automatically is going to be preeminent like the Cars self-titled happened to be. That one was a hit out of the park slam dunk. And one of the reasons is the MoFi of it was so bad. And I will honestly say bad. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. I'd recommend an OG. So it isn't always the case. And that's the reason I try to do these things, is because you can't go on automatic pilot for anything. I think that's it. Yeah, no, it's a great album. It's a great press, great sounding. Not giving away too much, but it's if you want really to get the most out of it, I'd say that's the one to go for. The OG is no slouch. Like a lot of these, the OGs are no slouch. And frankly, that's a relatively cheap album to get. So you got to make a call. How much do you like the record? That's really important because, you know, you can buy quite a few albums for $60. But Chad and team certainly did a really stellar job with it. Some of these recordings I think have something left in them to get out of what's already there. Some not as much, so it's always a matter of that as well, without getting excessive. You don't want to just have them boost the highs and the lows to just kind of saturate it and then lose all the mid range, for example. So it's a matter of selective choice and decision on that. But yeah, I mean, so far what I've heard of the 75th catalog coming out of Analog Productions has been very, very good. Very, very good, solid efforts, and definitely bringing things up a notch from what existed before. Now, whether you want to flip 4 records with The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, that's a decision one has to make. I'm looking at it purely in an auditory comparison of the records. Not all the records are ones that I'm, deeply engaged in. The Lamb is one that I listened to a lot more in my younger years when I was into Genesis 1.0, I'll call it. And I can't say that I've listened to it a lot in the subsequent decades, literally, but I know the album well. Whether I want to, play it and have to have it break up in between like that, that's a matter of what am I doing? Am I listening just to listen, or am I really hyper listening? So I personally take the time when I'm doing these, of course, to really get in there. But a lot of these are ones that I won't necessarily play a lot because there's so many things to listen to. That's the problem. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. I think we all can realize that, especially this time of year. You look back on, your life and your times and all, and it's, it's that kind of thing. Beakers, Rhino, and my OG. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are there. That is really, you talk about it's all about the music. I mean, that is a great, great record. I mean, there's not really a dog on that album anywhere. They all are solid, and they're so different in some ways. Some rock, some ballad, some jam. I mean, without you, which is I think the starting track of side 2, that was actually a jam song that the Doobies would play on stage, and they had never recorded it. And I guess over time, it kind of became like a, hey, are you ever going to release that? And it was, that was what their 3rd album, so it wasn't that far into it, but they had kind of cultivated that song over time. And what I love about that song is you got 2 drummers each on each channel. And if you listen to it and get their syncopation and their differences, it's really, it's one of my favorite songs from a drumming perspective. I really, really like it. Yeah, Face Value from Phil Collins was really well done. Yeah, that's one where they definitely got more out of it, I think. They definitely got more out of it, more so than I think they did on Hello, I Must Be Going. I think the gap was not nearly as big on that one, honestly. Oh, great. Okay, Manfred. That's an interesting perspective. Good. I mean, that's that's the thing. There's something for everybody. I mean, and that's what I really like about the whole series. I mean, frankly, the next 3 that are coming out in January really aren't ones that aren't albums that are ones that I would really listen to. I don't think as much. But I bought the series, so I'm going to get those. I'm not sure if I'll review them because, frankly, they're not in my wheelhouse, and I don't, frankly, even know if I have any of them in any other form to compare to. But it is, the ones that you want, I'd say get them because they are really well done. And, I always bring up the quiet vinyl aspect, but yeah, you got a really nice quiet vinyl relative to many of the OGs. I've personally don't have a lot of experience with OGs that are that quiet. I mean, they're not noisy, but they're not quiet. Um, and maybe some of the ones coming out of Santa Maria, I think that was a really good pressing plant. I know Patrick talks about it, but I have found some really well done pressings out of that plant. But in my part of the world, central part of the U.S., southern central area, I don't see a lot of Santa Maria. Whereas Patrick says in California, they're very abundant, which is local. So, you know, so did I get the rhino set with the autograph? No, I didn't get that. No, uh, no, I didn't get that. I've got a farewell tour booklet from their first, literally their first farewell tour that they ever took, and I got that signed. So I didn't feel the need for it, frankly, and I really, got to choose what I'm spending my money on, to be honest, because the expenses with having a channel and buying records, and again, I don't get any promo stuff or free stuff or anything like that to really validate. Although I will say there's some records behind me here that you can maybe see that they are from the pressing plant that I visited a few weeks ago, that they gave me as a gift. Not to review or anything, and I may review a few of them, because the few that I've listened to are extremely quiet for a standard record coming out. So I'll be talking about their pressing process as well. But generally, of course, I don't get anything promo or free or anything. That's all purchased. My Analog Production 75th is purchased as well as a subscriber. So I feel I can be more independent that way and make judgments with whatever I think is really the deal. So there's my buddy Don. Hey, Merry Christmas. David and Brad. I don't know if Brad's on here. Off to Friendswood for Christmas fish fry. Great. Have a great day. God bless you guys. Don's a friend that I've gotten to know, and his brother Ron. They're twins down in the Houston area. And Brad, the Vinyl Rush Brad and I have gone down there a few times. That's one of my high points of the year, is visiting those guys and looking at their collection and picking up some Beetle Grail, which I will be talking about on my Best of 23. So thanks for stopping in, Don. It's been a great relationship, and interesting. Heard about the channel Don did, and he saw what I paid for my Sergeant Pepper and thought, I've got one of those. I'd like to sell it if people are spending that. And then my friend Brad bought his. So the Sergeant Pepper UHQR, and they have quite a collection of a lot of things. I mean, a lot of UK stuff. Just a lot of well curated and well maintained things that we've been able to get through them. They've got a Santana Abraxas UHQR. I'm sorry, one step. One step of Santana Abraxas, but it's still a little bit too rich for my blood. And I mean, that's not one of my favorites. But if anybody out there is ever looking for one, let me know, and maybe I can connect you, because they definitely have been reasonable relative to the prices that are in Discogs to us. So glad to hear from Don. And that's, again, that to me is a big thing. What I really like about the vinyl community is these kind of connections you can make through having a channel or being on a stream, just being in the peanut gallery, doesn't matter. And that's what I really, wanted to say. Thanks to you all, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. And so I'll be, the next 3 videos I'll be putting out will be the Bad Company review of the Analog Productions release. I'll be putting out a review of Lamb Lies Down on Broadway of the Analog Production release, and then I'll have the video of the pressing plant tour that I took. So that should be how I round out my output pretty much for 2023. And of course, we'll have my best of 2023 coming out toward the end of the month as well. So I find that I'm going to be still doing some some part-time work in my profession that I had thought was going to end here at the end of the year for at least a few months next year. So again, I'm not going to have quite as much time as I thought I was going to have, but I do have a plan to visit the VMP pressing plant in Denver upon its opening. I have an invite there. Got to catch up on the date that in October. The target was February, so we'll see if that hits or not. And then I've got some West Coast stuff coming up as well later in the year. Hello there. Merry Christmas to you, Bootstrap. Thank you for joining. What are your thoughts so far? They have all been very good, very good. I mean, I would say so far they all have been the best of what I've heard of that particular, some by more than others. You know, that's exactly always the difference. Hey there, Ivan. Thank you from Germany. Manfred, thank you very much. Take care. I'm glad you're all doing well, hopefully. So they've all been solid. You know, I would tell you, you know, like anything else, I think it's a matter of, first of all, if you're going to spend that kind of money, it should be an album that you really, really like and are going to play much or really, you know, have strong feelings about. I think that's important when you're going to spend that kind of money. But I really haven't been disappointed. I know a few people have said that they've had a few defects here and there, warped or whatever. I think I even read somebody had skip. That's pretty rare, but it can happen, I guess. And all I can say about that is that they have been taken care of from everything that I have read. You know, and Chad obviously is on top of that. I talked to him earlier just last week, and you know they're dealing with that when in fact there are any of those situations. Mine were not problematic. He asked me, and I told him no, mine were fine. But he did, you know, he does have the concern, of course, when it does happen. Yeah, one thing for sure, we know that, you know, there's a lot of when you get a series like this and you got to be pumping them every month, 2 or 3, you know, then that's it's interrupted the Steely Dan release of Gaucho, which is a little bit upsetting in the sense that I was looking forward to it this year, but now I have a new thing to look forward to next year. So, you know. You know, I listened to the Steve Hoffman interview on Steve Westman's channel, and I thought I heard him say that he didn't think that Asia had any mid-range, which, okay, you know, I don't know. I certainly think there is. I've never detected that as an issue from any of the pressings that I had. Maybe a little bit on the MoFi, but that's more because of the way they selected their EQing during mastering. But I mean, in general, as far as it having mid-range as a source, I've never sensed that to be an issue. And certainly on the UHQR, in my opinion, you know, that really is the cat's meow, right? No AC/DC. No AC/DC at this point. And I know that that part of the catalog was discussed and pursued. There are, you know, a myriad of reasons, whether it be artist or label or contracts with other places that, you know, take things out of play pretty quickly. It's not, you know, just avant-garde. You can just go out there and do what you want and take what you want and get what you want. Some of it, you know, is fairly sealed up in the sense that you just can't get to it. And AC/DC, I think, was one of those groups, one of those situations in that. It isn't that I don't think it was pursued. I think it was. I think you see a few titles and groups in the 75th that you kind of go, oh, okay, that's a little different. I didn't know Chad was going to be going there. Well, yeah, he's been trying to, but again, it isn't just ask and you shall receive kind of a thing. It really doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I mean, these things take a lot of effort. The Steely Dan get was years in the making. And that's why it didn't happen for years. The right situation and scenario and timing and everything didn't come together. Sometimes the stars have to align. Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people believe, Jerry, that would be a great one to punch out. I mean, I think you'd really get some really stellar output out of that. Um, well, maybe things will change. I mean, it could literally be a thing that whatever stopped it, ends at the end of 2023 and they can revisit it next year. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying these things aren't always in stone, but they are at the time that they're in force. You can't do a darn thing about it. That's for sure. We in Germany are lovers of the mid range. Yes, I agree. I really like German OGs. It's one they track them down, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. Great. You think the Stelian UHQR is good in that? I agree. I agree. I think it is too. I do too. He was nervous. Yeah, I've never seen him on, to be honest, as well. Yeah, yeah, I haven't never seen him on either, to be honest. Yeah, great, Jerry. Yeah, yeah. So it is. It's all a matter of that. But hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching and taking the time to comment. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of good shootouts next year as well. I have having got my system to have two turntables, now two cartridges that are same. I mean, I really, that process now is getting easier to do. I'm also starting to digitize some of the comparisons, and I'll be putting links to some of those files in some of them as well. I will do that with the Bad Company, for example, so you can actually listen to a lossless file of some of the songs to compare them in your own mind. Now, I realize it's not an apples to apples thing, but at least maybe you can get a little bit of a gauge of some of the differences that you might hear. But trying to, expand that ability to kind of join in a bit, so to speak, on the shootout. Again, it's not always the same on every equipment. What do I use to digitize? I don't know the name of the box, the brand of the box off the top of my head, to be honest. I just got it recently. And it's basically a preamp or a line in. You can use it as a line in or a preamp. So I can go from my Graham Slee phono stage into it directly as a line. And then the output of that goes to a USB. Which has that. And you can do some tweaking on the signal, which is nice because if you get records that have two different volume levels or whatever, you can match it better that way. So I'll have to put a link somewhere of what that is called. To be honest, it wasn't expensive. It was like $100 on Amazon, and it really is good. It's really, really quiet for its price, surprisingly. Thanks, Jerry. You're welcome for the content, and yeah, I do have a love for music, and I appreciate that very much. I wouldn't do it otherwise, to be honest. Why do it? I mean, it's just it's something that just evolved over time. But this last 5 years, especially with some of these higher end recordings, I've been collecting Mobile Fidelity since '78, I think '77, '78. I think I had that first engine or train record they make. So, I mean, I've been doing that a long time, but until you get certain kinds of equipment, you can't really hear the differences of some things as much. So, things have gotten better, but I do appreciate that, guys and gals. It is a passion of love. And again, if you have ideas or thoughts on anything you'd like to see, let me know. I mean, I have got a stack of shootouts to do. And I'm going to be doing some with Brad. We're going to be doing Yes albums. We're going to be doing several Yes records. Fragile, Close to the Edge, the Yes album. We'll be doing those early next year for sure. I've got a few journeys that I'm going to do. as well. And then, of course, some that will be related to the Analog Productions 75th Atlantic, of course, will be happening as they come out. I've got a Gaucho ready to do on the digital version, the one that Universal came out. I forgot about that one. I've got that one in my queue as well that I've started to compare. I'll probably do that before the Analog Productions come out because I don't expect that one till maybe March. I hope February, but I'm going to say March. So, best Supertramp breakfast in America. Wow. I think I did one on that now that you say that. I think I did a comparison of the MoFis. And if I'm, there's like an orange strip top on the original and then a blue strip top on the newer. And I think the orange was, you needed to boost it more, which isn't uncommon sometimes, but I think it had more, it delivered more when you got it volume matched. Now the Japanese version is no slouch. It's probably, it's right in there as well. I've got a Japanese of that as well. So, I'd really need to go look at my notes just to be sure, Ivan, but I know I did a video on it for sure. I remember that. The Canadian one is, yeah, the audio, you're talking about the audiophile series? I don't know. You said Anniversary Canadian. Okay. Yeah, that's the Canadian audiophile series on A&M. They are kind of equivalents of Mobile Fidelities. They're pressed in Japan, JVC, what was Super Vinyl at the time. They didn't call it that, just JVC vinyl. And, you know, they were basically some of the ones released in the U.S. Weren't released in Canada and vice versa. Like even In the Quietest Moments was released on that A&M audiophile in Canada, but never released by MoFi because of some licensing issues here. Yeah, it does sound really good. It's very similar to the orange. It may actually be the same cut actually, as I'd have to look at the dead wax, but yeah, it's like the original orange top strip of that. So, Crime Crisis. Yeah, that series is excellent. That audiophile series. I just got one, Brother to Brother, by Gino Vanelli, which I'd never seen before. To be honest, I haven't even listened to it. I picked it up the day Patrick was down here in Texas. But that's a great example of a really strong series that is not as expensive as MoFi's, but every bit the quality. And so, you know, if you ever see these audiophile series ones, it's called, if you look up audiophile series in Discogs, it'll call it up and then you can see all the ones that are done. The Chuck Mangione Feels So Good is really stellar, right? Yeah, so Manfred agrees with that. Yeah. Yeah, I've got I think Carpenters. I've got quite a few of those series, and they are underrated, which is a good. I mean, it's quiet, right, guys? Don't let everybody know they'll go up in price. But the audio, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Hang on. Just happen to have this one out, so it has this gold logo audiophile series. I paid $15 for this Brother to Brother Gino Vanelli. And now some of them have like a gold frame around the actual record. It's just a goldish thing. And it says in writing audiophile series. They had two different cover types. But this one I think only came in the stamp, what I call the stamp series, where they stamp that on there. And they are, you know, they are virgin vinyl. You can see right through the vinyl, translucent vinyl. So good stuff, really good stuff. Styx, I've got that one too. Yep, I've got several of Styx. Yeah, I've got several. Yeah, I've got a few Nautilus. I've got a few test pressings of Styx audiophile versions from Styx or Nautilus, actually, test pressings. So there you go. Yeah, Mangione. That's a well-recorded album. Very underrated or under spoken, I guess I would say. You know, I bought an album yesterday. I think I may have a European version too, but I bought a US version, and it was a band called Swing Out Sister in the 80s, and they had Breakout was the song they had. Very jazzy, kind of popish song, and the whole album is that way. But man, well recorded, good sounding. Oh my, just unbelievable. Supertramp. There you go. Thanks, Ivan. Yeah. I knew I had it out there somewhere. I'm beginning to, they're all starting to look alike after a while, even in the quantity. Yeah, you're right. That one comes in both. You're right. Because I think I have it with the square around it. Right here somewhere. Can you believe I pulled and there it was? That's amazing. So it says audio file around the top. Okay. And then it says pressed in Japan. Now, GEM was a company that did imports to the U.S. I've got a lot of theirs. I got a UK first press of Physical Graffiti from GEM. So you can see the price back then. I mean, $17.99, that was up there at the time, right? When most records were like $8.99. But yeah, that's what you get. And then they had a flap that said audio file. See here. And then that gold went all the way around. So you either get it in this form with the audio file on top, or you get, as I showed you a minute ago, you get this logo stamp that says Audiophile Series. My friend Brad got me a copy of Herb Alpert Rise in that series, and it is amazing. So there you go. So, right, exactly. Swing Out Sister. Oh, yeah, there you go. SOS, I had to think for a second. Yeah, the CD, I had the CD too, because back then that was what was big. But man, the album sounds fabulous if you ever find it. I think I paid $10 for it, and it was very clean. Feels So Good DBX version. Wow, I have a DBX decoder, so I don't have that one in DBX version. I'd like to. I have like Hearts, Dreamboat Annie, which sounds amazing. Can't remember what else I have. Who's Next? I think I not Who's Next. Sorry. Who Are You? I think I have by the Who. I can't remember all the DBXs I have. Crisis. Yeah, that's an underrated record, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, that is an underrated record. And of course, it was about what I guess the gasoline crisis in '74. I guess it was really wrapped around that, and of course, that kind of title could live on for decades, right? Definitely, people. It's Christmas. Sit a chair, drink, and actually listen to some music instead of always yakking about it. Go visit some family, friends in person. Happy holidays. Yeah, okay, all right. Grinch has arrived. Well, I didn't plan to stay on long. I really wanted to say hello to everybody and thanks for your participation this year. And I want to wish you and yours the happiest of holidays. And I'm sure I'll see you all before New Year's. And stay safe out there. And again, thanks for being part of Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you all.